Hello. This is a video for if you're really confused about how to do a walk cycle. So this is about like a 29-minute time lapse, and I decided to throw that thing up on the screen to show you basically what keys I'm pressing as I'm going through it. What I'm doing right there is sort of gridding out sort of how big of a head, body, and legs I usually like to have on my character sprites. For 16 by 16, you're not going to get a lot of detail in it. That's why usually I stick to something like a chibi style. Now, my first mistake here is putting these legs way too far apart. Because I did that, it makes them really hard to cross over with each other, and it just looks like his little legs are just flailing. So you'll see me constrict the body like a lot here. And then you'll notice all the limbs are differently colored. This is just because it makes it a lot easier to animate later on, and because of how I chose my color palette and everything, it also reads a lot easier as like a body part while I'm coloring it. Now right here, I am doing away with that idea entirely. In favor of making the entire sprite before animating it, which I think is probably the smarter idea. Make the entire sprite, try to colorize the arms and legs a bit differently just so whenever they cross in front of each other, they look a little bit different. And then I just added a couple other different little quirks. I thought this guy's head looked really weird, just leaving it bald, so I decided to add a little hat. And you'll see in a little bit, I really just mess way too much with the proportions. The other thing I do that I mess up a bit on is I don't leave enough space for him to go up or down. So I pretty much shrink the whole guy down by about a pixel, and it takes me a while to figure how I want him to go. Especially like right there. You see a whole bunch of little pauses. If you're wondering how I get through my palette so quickly, or how I go to like the next color so quickly without having to go back and forth on the palette, unfortunately it didn't capture my mouse stroke, but it's if you hold down Alt and then go up or down on the scroll wheel, it'll go to whatever the next color is on your palette. So now I've got him proportioned how I need him so he can move around a lot. I decided to just copy this frame about 7 times because we're ultimately creating a 9-frame cycle. So why do I only do 8 frames? Well, that's because frame 1 and frame 9 are the same thing. And I am really just following that one tutorial paper that I flashed in the beginning of this tutorial. I'm also going to attach it to a post on Google Classroom, so it's easier for you to refer to. I think this is a little bit better than the one that I had up on there before. And mostly what I am doing at this point is just the legs. Like, I'm only working on the legs and only doing them one at a time to make them look not quite as goofy. You know, trying to pick the poses or key poses out a lot easier. So yeah, try to avoid like that pose where, yeah, the legs are splayed out completely. So that's why I changed the left leg to be a little bit different. I think if I want them splayed out like that, I'd probably end up using that for a jumping animation. I think it's around this point I realize I think I essentially skipped a frame, so a lot of my poses and things were confused. let me tell you, if you're trying to follow along right now and paint exactly what I'm painting, don't. Because I make a lot of mistakes too. Or a lot of happy accidents. Alright, so at this point, the legs are done. So now I'm working on the arms. And the arms are just going to wave back and forth like he's skipping. And that's just the simplest way to animate your arms and your legs to make sure they're not just walking like a robot, basically. And I do make a mistake at about, I want to say frame 7 or 8. I move the wrong direction and the whole thing messes up. You see my mouse freak out a little bit because I got aggravated. It happens. We all make mistakes, kids. I mean, happy accidents. Listen. Whatever you feel like calling them. Alright, and I saw this, and I realized the arms looked intensely long. Like, really, really long. So I had to kind of fix that. And here's where I see the error. And with the arms done, that's it. If I had add anything else, I would maybe add like a little bit of a squashing or stretch effect or something like that, just while he's moving. But otherwise, that's like a pretty simple and completed sprite guy. Anyway, hopefully this video helped you out a bit. Bye.